In this video, I'll show you how easy it is to get Microsoft Word to properly reference citations in your assignments. To show you where we're headed, here's a finished example. What we want to do is take a typical in-text citation, whether that's a direct quote from someone else or where we've reworded someone else's work into our own words. That in-text citation needs to be labeled appropriately as circled there in red. Word will insert that label for us, and what it will also do is at the end of the document it will populate a references list. So wherever we have an in-text citation, there needs to be a corresponding entry in the references list, which is a more detailed description of the source from which we took the citation. The entries in the list need to be in a particular order, and the text in each entry needs to be in a particular order. And things like which element goes in italics and which element goes in brackets all have to be done a certain way. I'll show you how Word does all that for you. When you finish watching this video, go back to where you found it to find a follow-up video on how to populate a bibliography list and how to delete entries in either list. So there you have what we're going to do. Now we're going to look at how to actually do it. At certain points during the video, I'll suggest a pause. It's at that point you could, if you wanted to, pause the video, go away and try that particular step we've just looked at, then come back, press play and pick up and look at the next part of the process. To help the demonstration, I've gone back and stripped out all the references from the document so we can build this up one step at a time. The first thing to do is to place the cursor where you want the label for the in-text citation to go. In this demonstration, I'm putting the cursor just after the quotation. Alternatively, you can place it after the author's name if you have the author mentioned in your text. Next, select the references tile, and we need to make sure that the style is set correctly. Different qualifications and different industries can use different referencing style. For this particular type of assignment, select the Harvard style. This could be a good point to pause the video so that you can go and position your cursor and select the correct style. Next, we press Insert Citation in order to add a new source. Here Word starts to ask us about the source. In this instance, when using a website, the first thing to do there, of course, is to choose the correct source that you've used, and then to start populating as much of this window as you can. You can choose Show All Bibliography Fields there if you want to give a little bit more detail. We hit OK, and then that will insert the author's name and the year at the end of our quote. So that's the in-text citation taken care of. A little bit of know-how here. Since we've already mentioned the author's surname in the text, on this occasion we can remove or suppress the author's name from our in-text citation. That's the right thing to do in terms of presentation. We'll look at why we would leave the surname in there in the next example. This is another good point to pause so that you can open your document and try that insert citation function. With that done, we can then go to the end of the document where we're going to insert our references list to give the full details of that source. Again, this is where Word is going to work for us. Now you need to place your cursor immediately after the main body of your work. Back to the References tab and click the Bibliography drop down, but make sure you click References because that's what we want, a references list. There you have it. Word has presented the references list exactly how we need it for Harvard style. Now could be another good time to hit pause again, go to the end of your document and try that. What I'd like to do now is just give you one more example, but this time we're going to take the reference from a book and have a look at how that's slightly different. Of course, the first thing to do is to change the type of source appropriately. And on this occasion, I haven't entered as much information about the source as would be ideal. I've done that to show you that the tool will still work with some empty fields, but it's not ideal, so I do recommend you complete as many of those fields as you can. You'll see that the author surname isn't mentioned in this part of the text, and for that reason the correct thing to do is to leave the author's surname in those brackets. Back to our reference list now, click Update, and Word puts the entry in there, formats it the way I want it, and Word has put the entries in the correct order for me too. And that's it, all done. You can continue inserting citations and updating that list at the end of the document. I'll suggest one final pause here so that you can go and try that. Then the final minute or so of the video, we're going to look at how to deal with sources with multiple authors. If your source has more than one author, simply separate their names using a semicolon and Word will format that appropriately. Alternatively, you can use the edit button here to edit people's names and add new names, and you can reorder their names here. Always remember that you can add in additional information about your source. In this example, we're going to insert the page number. This improves the quality of your referencing, which can help your assessor, and it can help you should you need to revisit that source later on. That's it for this video. I hope that was helpful. Do be sure to watch the video on how to insert a bibliography into your document and how to delete entries from either list.